everyone. Welcome. And we are so pleased that you have joined us here today. My name is Veronica Robertson, Board Chair of the African American Legacy, and we are so very grateful for your presence this afternoon. First, I want to start by saying that I hope everyone enjoyed that absolutely beautiful performance from the Spelman College Glee Club. And if we have any Spelman alumni who are in this Zoom this afternoon, please let us know in the comments, because we do want to know that you're here and that your presence is being felt. So today we celebrate the past, the present, and the future. Our past, the incredible, incomparable leader of Donald Stewart, whose legacy is the foundation of this fellowship and this award. Our present, the leaders in the African American community in Chicago that we seek to uplift. This is the work that we do, and we celebrate them today. And we celebrate our future, this year's fellow, Mr. Claude Robinson, because we believe not only in recognizing and honoring achievements made, but also in the potential of what is to come. So we celebrate you on today. So thank you all again for gathering with us today. And please also feel free to include in the comments if you are joining us as a former colleague or friend of Donald Stewart. We would love to hear that as well. For those of you who are joining an African American Legacy event for the first time, the African American Legacy, or AAL as we're known, is a philanthropic initiative led by African American civic and community leaders who share the common goal of improving the quality of life among African Americans throughout metropolitan Chicago. And since 2003, AAL has granted over $2.5 million to organizations supporting the African American community in the Chicagoland area. In 2020, we had the opportunity to celebrate the inaugural fellow, Mr. Tim King, and then we spent the remainder of the year seeking ways to support and respond to our community during this pandemic. During 2020, we were able to grant $50,000 in emergency relief funds for general operating support for organizations. In May of 2020, we were able to do that. And this past September, we granted $170,000 in grants to community organizations with a strong commitment to social justice and a programmatic focus in the arts, immigration, mental health, and youth micro-entrepreneurship. And I would be remiss if I did not mention the tireless work of our board, those who serve in a volunteer capacity on the African American Legacies Board. And not only this board, but all of those who are serving our community, particularly in the health sector, as well as those who advocate for support in the community. The work is tireless and often it feels unthanked, but we want to thank you today. Today we will hear from Dr. Helene Gale, the Donald Stewart Fellows, Tim King and Claude Robinson, and we'll also hear from the Stewart family. Now, time permitting, we are hoping that there will be an opportunity towards the end of the program for breakout rooms. While we're not in person the way that we used to be and the way that many of us are accustomed to, and I know we all missed that. I know I missed the cocktail party and the cocktail hour and just getting together and being with people. But we do want to bring back a sense and feel of that. So we're going to have breakout rooms toward the end should the time permit. So now I want to introduce our first speaker. As president and CEO of the Chicago Community Trust, Dr. Gale leads the trust as it embarks on an ambitious 10-year goal of closing the racial and ethnic wealth gap in the Chicago region. The trust also continues to address the region's changing needs, which was ever evident during the pandemic. Things were truly brought into focus just how, just what that need is. So the organization immediately responded by partnering with United Way of Metropolitan Chicago, with support from the City of Chicago to launch the Chicago Community COVID-19 Response Fund. And over $35 million was raised so that rapid response grant making could be done to meet this community need. And more recently, the Trust launched its Together We Rise for an equitable and just recovery. And this is an initiative that addresses the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 and the deep-seated economic inequities that were just amplified by the pandemic. And if that's not enough jobs, she is also co-chaired the Committee on Equitable Allocation of Vaccine for COVID-19. So without any further ado, I present to you this afternoon, Dr. Helene Gale.
Thanks so much, Veronica, and just thanks to everybody for being here with us today. It really means so much to have so many people who are part of the many, many different paths and different lives of Don Stewart. So thank you, and really glad to have the Stewart family with us. And also want to recognize President of Spelman, Mary Schmidt Campbell, who is with us today. I kind of feel like I share in her being the beneficiary of Don's legacy. So Mary, glad you are here with us today. So, we're here, both to recognize the passing of somebody who meant so much to so many of us, but also to recognize his incredible legacy and the things that he has left behind. As we know, he was an influential leader whose impact throughout educational institutions, such as his role as president of Spelman College, where he just went gangbusters in terms of quadrupling the endowment for that school, and then going on to head the college board, work at Carnegie Corporation, and so many other things that we could name in terms of his accomplishments for us here in Chicago, the nation, and in fact, in some ways, even the world. And it's really important that he came home back to his hometown of Chicago in his role as the CEO of the Chicago Community Trust. Let me just say a few things about some of Don's accomplishments while at the Trust. He clearly played a huge role in advancing education through establishing an initiative that focused on increasing literacy, strengthening professional development for teaching, and supporting alternative models of schooling. He also developed new grant-making priorities that dramatically increased donor services and developed partnerships and initiatives that expanded the Trust family. He ushered in a new era of technology and innovation and provided key leadership to expand the Trust's commitment to diversity and inclusion, including the adoption of the Trust's first ever diversity statement. He also established the Lake County Community Foundation, the Asian Giving Circle, and the African American Legacy Fund. So, to commemorate and to express the deepest form of appreciation to his service to the Trust and to the broader Chicago community, the Trust Executive Committee, our board, approved the Donald Stewart Leadership Award Fund in April of 2019 to recognize and support exemplary community-based leaders who mirror Don Stewart's lifelong passions and influence. And it was resolved to house that in as a fellowship in the African American Legacy Fund, the very fund he created. Now, this year's decision was no easy task, just like last year. The AAL did what it has always done, reviewed in their very thorough way. They reviewed trailblazers who we can all applaud for their dedication to empowerment and uplifting the African American community. But we are so excited out of that field of incredibly accomplished people to award this year's fellowship to Claude Robinson. We can all clap. Our honoree will be introduced by the 2019 Donald Stewart Fellow and close mentee of Don's, Tim King. Tim, as we all know, has emerged as an educational leader and is credited with drastically improving college acceptance rate at Hale Franciscan High School and establishing urban prep academies. We will have a brief moment to hear about urban prep, an organization the Stewart family passionately supported, and then we will hear remarks from Tim. Thank you.
We opened Urban Prep because, frankly, in the city of Chicago, young African-American males are in crisis. We've got a 60% high school dropout rate, a 2.5% college completion rate.
Many of us, we didn't have much hope for ourselves as far as our future was concerned.
I really didn't have any thoughts about college. I was just trying to graduate 8th grade.
And part of what we have to do here at Urban Prep is change those statistics. We want to increase the number of African-American young men who are earning college degrees in this city and in this country.
It means a lot to be here, to be at a school where people care about me, to be somewhere that I know that people want me to succeed.
It motivates you to do the things that you think you cannot do, like applying to college.
It made me think about college now. I'm very excited to go to college.
They are supportive, and I think that's the biggest key in this whole school is just the support that they have for us.
To become the well-rounded person that Urban Prep wants me to become, so I have the tools that I need to succeed in college.
We want them to grow up to be exceptional and be real positive contributors to their society.
They just offer a vast amount of opportunities for my brothers to just excel.
Like going to colleges and universities.
Like University of Michigan and Stanford.
This summer I'm going to a junior law program at DePaul University.
Study abroad program that takes me to South Africa to study engineering, which is one of the most mind-blowing opportunities I've ever had in my entire life.
It's tough to be what you don't see. And so we take our jobs as role models to these young men very, very seriously. We want to make sure that our students see examples in men and women who work at Urban Prep of excellence, of exceptionality.
The positive role models, the positive people that are around you every day, it puts us in a position to pursue success.
They're always complimenting us and they're always giving us advice like they're our own parents.
Pushing me to accomplish greater things that I never thought I could ever do.
I'm able to climb mountains.
These teachers really care about my future.
Everyone's here to help you in the college counseling area, teachers, staff, and your peers.
Urban Prep surrounds me with young men that actually want something out of their lives.
Here at Urban Prep, I stay on top of my stuff and bring my friends along with me.
It's like we love each other, but we too manly to say that.
These guys are serious. They're serious about their futures. They're serious about what they're doing. They understand, as our creed says, that they have a responsibility to themselves, to their community, and to their world.
And our creed, it says we are college bound, we're exceptional, not because we say it, but because we work hard at it.
I try to represent being exceptional each and every day.
They believe the creed, they believe those words, they understand that they're college bound. And our students have done it. With our 100% college acceptance rate for our graduates, that's proof positive that our young men understand that they're going to change the world.
Being here at Urban Prep is changing my life.
I'm very excited about my future.
I'm shooting for the stars.
I want to go to a good college. I want to come back with knowledge to help support my family.
I want to become a mechanical engineer.
Once I get my degree in engineering, I want to go into law.
I will be known for my success.
With everything that Urban Prep has provided us, we can accomplish greater things. We don't have to settle for the least. We can shoot for the best.
This is what happens when we believe.
It's great to be here, and I really appreciate all of you here for this event, and also all the support you've given over the years. I'm very full right now. I get that way every time I see the Urban Prep video, but I'm particularly filled with emotion because we're watching this video in the context of this award and Don Stewart's life, his legacy. And everyone always, I get the opportunity to go around and give a lot of speeches and talk to a lot of folks about our work at Urban Prep. And people very often associate Urban Prep success with me in a way that makes me a little uncomfortable because they think that it's all me. And in reality, it is nothing could be further from the truth. Certainly, I had the idea, but it took a whole lot of people. Many of them are on this Zoom call right now, but it took a whole lot of people to make Urban Prep a reality and to achieve what we have achieved. And Don Stewart was one of those people. His wife, Isabel, is one of those people. I remember so fondly both of them coming and visiting Urban Prep when we were in our very first year. We'd only been open for a couple of months, and they came and visited Urban Prep. And from that moment on, Don was a tremendous, tremendous mentor to me, and not just a mentor to me, but also a mentor to our students. I don't know that many people know this, but one of the things that Don did was he made sure that he came to every single one of our convocations, our opening celebrations of our students. He attended our graduation. He came to the school on a regular basis and mentored our students. And he and his wife generously supported financially our work at Urban Prep. We have graduated over 2,000 young Black men. And as they walk across the stage, they have a college acceptance letter in one hand and a high school diploma in the other. That would not have happened were it not for a lot of people putting in a lot of work. And that list includes Don and Isabel Stewart. So to be named the inaugural recipient of this fellowship is tremendously, tremendously, it's a tremendous, tremendous honor. And I'm incredibly proud. And I hope that Don is looking down and smiling as we celebrate him and as we celebrate the work of Urban Prep and the work of many people in our community. This has been a tough year over the course of the last, in fact, the fellowship event, the Don Stewart Fellowship event was the last event that I went to in public. It was the last event that we kind of had where there were real people there having lunch and talking. After that, everything shut down. We shut down the schools, and it was really, really, really tough to manage over the course of that year. But we were able to do it, and we were able to excel in large part because of the fellowship that I received, which we were able to leverage into ensuring that our students were able to, each and every one of them, have a laptop, computer, and device to do their work remotely. And also we were able to bring our students back in hybrid form starting at the beginning of the school year. And then we're able to continue our legacy of ensuring that all of our students are receiving a high quality education and gaining admission to college. And very soon we'll be announcing that 100% of our graduates in this year, this of all the most challenging years, have been admitted to college as well. So we're able to continue that tradition. And in large part, we're able to continue that tradition because of the support that the Chicago Community Trust provided Urban Prep through the Don Stewart Fellowship. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so very much for this honor. Isabel, thank you so much for being a supporter of mine and being a supporter of Urban Prep. And thanks for making sure that your husband was always there and allowing him the freedom to always be there to support our work. You know, I say it in the video, I say it all the time. This is what happens when we believe. And this is a true example of what happens when we believe. And Don certainly believed in the work of Urban Prep as we believed, and we're grateful for everything he's ever done. Thanks.
Well, I have the wonderful opportunity to introduce a peer of mine, Claude Robinson. But first, I'd like to thank the Chicago Community Trust, the African American Legacy Fund, for carrying Don Stewart's legacy forward. I think so many of us are just in awe of Don Stewart and all the work that he has done. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Claude, but what I want people to understand about Claude is that he does his work whether you're looking or not. And I'm such in awe of him and privileged to be able to work alongside of him. Claude's been at UCAN and doing DEI work for over 25 years. And I believe that if Claude wasn't at UCAN, wherever he was going to be at, he would be doing this work regardless, because he has a commitment to youth. He has a commitment and a passion to serving our community. And one of the things that could sum up Claude is that he is a servant leader. He gives of himself tirelessly. He's at work on Saturdays, Sundays, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, late at night. Claude just is so committed to ensuring that people have what they need in community, that's one of the main reasons I'm here at UCAN. A couple of things that I want to just mention and uplift about Claude is that at his work that he has at UCAN, he's been very instrumental in our diversity, equity, and inclusion program. And what I mean by that is not just that we're having a marketing tool or something that that we share out with people, but that Claude walks the walk and talks the talk. We have, I think, in a nonprofit organization by far, committed to DEI in a way that I don't see many other nonprofits doing. We're looking at it in a way of our board governance. Claude was committed to helping change the dynamics of the board and include people who look like community on the board so that they would have a say so. Claude also looks at and pushes our HR department around talent acquisition and ensuring that we support our employees. One of the ways that he does that is through our employee resource groups, which I had only heard happening in the corporate environment. And when I came over to UCAN and I found out that we had all of these different dynamic ERGs as a way to engage our staff and keep them connected to the mission of the organization, I really am so thankful that we have those opportunities for our staff. He also is one of the people that helped build many of the programs that we currently have at UCAN. He started out doing youth mentoring and violence prevention and job training. Everything that UCAN has, Claude has touched. And I think one of the things I think about, when sometimes when we go to church and the pastor says, I'm gonna put some oil on your hands or I'm gonna bless your hands. I think anything that Claude touches, it turns to gold. And I'm so privileged to be on the team with him. He's had many professional achievements. He received the Transformational Leadership Program in October of 2002. He's a certified diaconal minister with CHISM, the Council of Health and Human Services Ministries. He was in Leadership Greater Chicago in 2004. He was in the Latino Policy Forum for Multicultural Leadership as a fellow in 2016. And I think those say a lot about Claude, but it doesn't say enough. And that's one of the reasons why I think this award further demonstrates how sometimes we have unsung heroes inside of our organizations that we need to continuously lift up and breathe life into. And I'm so glad that Claude is here with us today to be able to receive that accolade in public, to receive being replenished for the work that he does. He also has received a couple of awards. WGN in 2000 gave him an Unsung Heroes Award. He received the Miss Illinois Distinguished Leadership Award in 2002, and then he was inducted in the Who's Who in Black Chicago in 2014. Many of us had maybe not come across Claude before, but I think once you've met Claude, you will always want to know Claude because he continues all of us to push forward, to be our best selves, to always look out for other people. Again, he is exemplary of servant leadership.
Kim, thanks for the wonderful and heartfelt introduction. I want to start first and begin by thanking the Chicago Community Trust for this wonderful award and the African American Legacy for the Donald Stewart Fellowship. I'm extremely honored to receive the award. And I also want to thank Dr. Gale for her leadership and her team for raising pertinent issues that are negatively impacting the African American community. Dr. Gale, we first met in Holman Square at the original Sears Tower. And I remember that conversation where you said you were going to get some things done that haven't been done before. And I applaud you and your team for continuing to make that happen here in the greater Chicagoland area. To my UCAN family, the board of directors, the staff, the young people and families that we serve, and the communities that we're in, I wanted to thank you for your continued encouragement and support of my leadership over the past 26 years. 26 years ago, I envisioned that UCAN can be an organization that transforms people's lives. We're 152 years old and serve over 21,000 youth, children, and families each year. Our mission is to strive to build strong youth, children, and families through compassionate healing, education, and empowerment. And one of the things that Kim brought up, we have a 9-tier diversity, equity, and inclusion program that has been impactful, not only for us as an organization, but also in communities as well. I'm extremely proud that we focused on economic equity as well in all of our programs. Since 2009, we've spent over $42 million with minority business enterprises or women's business enterprises, something that I think speaks to our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So to all my UCAN family, this is our award. Every argument, every conversation that's uncomfortable, every conversation that's opportunistic, all of it matters. And to our board, the same holds true. I want to say, I have my mother, Janice Robinson, also my wife, Heather Island Robinson, on the call too. I couldn't do what I do in service to community without their love and without their support. So their support is immeasurable to me. And I want to talk a little bit about some of what I want to see happen with the Donald Stewart Fellowship. I want to take 4 to 6 young people on an weekend exposure outing to Memphis, Tennessee. I want them to get a chance to see the Ernest Withers collection, the Stax Museum, the National Civil Rights Museum, Mason Temple, Church of God in Christ, where Dr. King spoke. And I believe it can enlighten their leadership and help them to see how important our history is as African Americans, and it will propel them to want to be greater leaders. I also want to take 4 to 6 other young people to Alabama to reflect and to take a walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and then also see the museum that Brian Stevenson put forth around the lynchings that happened in our country. And the last thing I'm thinking about is finding ways to invest in small Black-owned businesses on the south and west sides of the city. I've gotten a chance to see how they're the heartbeat of community, but then also oftentimes when they're not alive, how it's to the detriment of the Black community. So it's something I really want to focus on. I'm honored and blessed because of this Donald Stewart Award. And I want the family to know that I vow to continue to work across the nonprofit, philanthropic, corporate, and government sectors to raise issues of racial equity and raise issues of diversity and inclusion to the betterment of the African American community. James Baldwin spoke about the fire next time, and the fire has never gone out. And as long as I have breath in my body, the fire will continue to burn, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure the African American experience is lifted, is respected, and valued in ways that all humanity should. Thank you again for this award, and I'm excited about it. Thank you.
Robinson. My name is Jay Stewart. I'm the older son of Donald Stewart. I'm accompanied on this call by my son, Ulysses, and also my mother, Isabel, and my brother, Carter. So we wanted to do a couple things with our time. Instead of delivering remarks, first thing we wanted to do was to give Ulysses a chance to read a poem that he wrote about his grandfather.
Okay.
My poem is called Oh Grandpa. Oh Grandpa, you were there when I need you. You were there when I cry. You are there. You are smart and loving and raised my dad. You made my dad so smart that he teaches college. Oh Grandpa, you are there when I was born. You were there with me on the holidays. I am sad that you were dead, but I'm glad now that you can watch over me now.
Thank you, Ulysses. Okay, so I do have one or two remarks. Claude, your achievements are inspiring, and we are elated that you were selected. In lieu of remarks from the family, we hope that this video, performed by the Glee Club of Spelman College, will inspire you to go further. Congratulations. We look forward to learning more about your work in the coming year.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jay, thank you so much for those remarks. Ulysses, thank you so much for that beautiful, inspirational poem, that you read about your grandfather. And that video, I mean, I don't know what else to say. There's couldn't be a more appropriate, video and message, given what we're here today. And because Don Stewart's legacy, absolutely, the work that he did on this earth while he was here on this earth, absolutely changed the world. And the work that Tim and Claude, both Tim and Claude do on a daily basis now is work that, will forever change the world and will have everlasting reverberations on society. My name is Troy Boyd. I am the vice chair of the African American Legacy. On behalf of the African American Legacy and the Chicago Community Trust, we would like to thank everyone for joining us today. We want to thank the Chicago Community Trust for housing this fellowship with the African American Legacy Fund, as well as the board members and the life directors that were a part of nominating and selecting this year's and last year's fellow. A special thanks, goes out again to the Stewart family and to Spelman College for their assistance and with everything that went into making this presentation happen today. At this point, I'm supposed to highlight some of the comments that folks have put in the chat box during this Zoom call. It's impossible to choose, to choose some, just a couple comments, but I just would like to say that everyone who commented, was so thankful and in awe and amazed, at the work of Tim and Claude, at Ulysses' poem, and at Don Stewart's everlasting legacy. We're also incredibly excited because next week we will launch our 2021 grant cycle with the African American Legacy Fund. Thanks to the dedication of our grants committee, led by the chair, Suzanne Griffith, and vice chair, Inger Burnett Ziegler, and our grant consultant, Consuela Brown. While this event will be ending soon, we want you to continue to stay a part of the AAL family. To learn more or to donate, visit our website at aalchicago.org and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Before we head into our breakout rooms for 10 minutes for you to meet someone, see some new or familiar faces, I invite everyone right now to unmute themselves for an overdue round of applause for this year's fellow, Claude Robinson.
My name from Delaware.